Hello,
Hello.
hello. Welcome to Tuesday Talks with the Conways.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Chris. We are trying something a little new tonight. I guess kind of new. We're also sharing or streaming live to YouTube. So if you want to take a look at or watch from a different platform, feel free to take a look at us over there. Also, it's nice that YouTube doesn't you don't have to have a account to watch those as well. So I know some of our our Instagram people didn't have a Facebook and were wanting to have some of our access to some of our videos and not have to have an account on Facebook, which is totally fine. So you can look for the Healthy page on YouTube, and our video from last week is already up there. As I know somebody asked if we could have a video podcast of last week, but it is up on YouTube, so that's kind of the next best thing. So now we're going to be live streaming also on YouTube. So we're going to be live streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'm also fairly certain that those videos will still live there. Because I know Facebook's changing some of their policies, and they're only keeping the live stream videos for like 30 days. So if you don't catch it on Facebook, and you miss it after the 30 days is up, you can still listen to the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but you can catch the video recording on YouTube for hopefully forever.
Yep. But we are so glad that you guys are here. We have Kay, we have Jody, we have a few others here.
So feel free to comment if you're new. We love having new people, but we do also love our regulars. Love seeing that some of the same people pop up every single time.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a part 2 to last week, and we're pretty sure we won't even get through them all this week, so there might be a part 3
Yeah, so part 3 would
next
probably
week.
be the extent of
Yes.
things. So last week we talked about the sugar smart and carb cautious plans that we at Healthy provide. Um, did you need something?
Oh, I was just going to introduce the topic.
Yes. So
But this week's topic is Healthy Plans Explained Part 2. And I will let Chris finish what he was saying while I
yes.
interrupted him because I was excited.
Nope, that's okay. We don't really practice these sometimes, so it's sometimes hard to know exactly when the other person wants to time up something. So if you
You
see,
think he could read my mind, but he just doesn't yet.
yes, I'm not. I need another decade or so before I can start reading her mind a little bit. But as I mentioned last week, we talked about sugar smart and carb conscious plans. So if you want to find more about those plans and you missed last week, feel free to take a look at the podcast or take a look at the video on YouTube to kind of get a really good deep down explanation of those plans. And Courtney has done lots of research on these plans. You'll probably see us looking up at our notes up
There's
on the
lots and lots of
upper
notes
right
right
hand corner. So if we're not looking directly at the camera, we're looking at some of our notes and kind of a cheat sheet just so we can make sure that we are giving you accurate information on our plans. And hello, Shelly. Glad to see you on here. So we will probably get to it because I know last week we went over just a little bit, which is fine. No, I don't think anybody complained about us being over 4 or 5 minutes. So we'll try to get to it and see if we can get through 2 more plans out of the 6 regular plans. And of course, there is that 7th plan for those that are on the GLP-1. Um, Jody, if Jody mentioned on Instagram that she's having some issues signing up, I will forward your information over to our Healthy admins to see if we can figure out what's going on with not being able to join. So don't worry, we'll get you taken care of. Feel free to comment with any questions about the plans or how we've been faring on the plans. Or also, if you have any questions that are not related to this particular topic, we love interactive comments. And it looks like we've got someone watching from YouTube, Mary from Tennessee. So glad that you're joining us from our new venue.
We didn't know
know
if the comments would actually show up or not.
we didn't know how the comments were showing up because I have the YouTube on my phone too, just in case. But yes, we thankfully are able to see the YouTube comments as well. So thank you so much for joining us, Mary, on YouTube, and hopefully we'll have a few more people join on YouTube as we continue to stream live every week on YouTube as well. So nice to have lots of different avenues for people to see.
Yes. But like we said, tonight's topic is Healthy Plans Explained Part 2. If you missed Part 1, it is on YouTube. It's also on Facebook right now. Like Chris mentioned, they're only there for like 30 days now. So if you happen to see this after 30 days from now, it will be on YouTube as well. There are 6 plans. Last week we talked about, like Chris mentioned, Sugar Smart and Carb Conscious, I
I
believe.
believe so.
And yes. And this week we are going to try to go over 2 more. Like I said last week, when I went through to like make my notes on everything, I was actually shocked how much there was to say about each plan. There's actually some pretty in-depth things on Healthy's app for each plan. So if you want to go look yourself, there's like meal plans, there's a whole entire list of zero bite foods. Like there's a ton on Healthy's app, or not app, their website. But anyways, the first plan that we're going to talk about today is Conquer Cravings. This is one that I didn't really know much about until I did the research for it. But this plan is made for those who crave. Actually, random thing. When I was looking this one over, I told Chris, I said, this one might be good for us too. Like, we're actually, like, a lot of them are actually pretty good for us.
Yeah, this has been a big benefit to us because we've been on the Better Balance plan
literally since we joined Healthy,
since
like
we
5
joined
years ago.
a long time ago, and so it just took one person asking a question a few weeks ago about the plans, which sparked this current series of our podcasts on the plans, and it has helped us too. So really hope that these explanation of plans will help you and help you find a plan that you like, and you don't have to stay on just one plan. So
yes, but Conquer Cravings, it's made for those who crave sweets after dinner. That would be me. Someone that can finish a bag of salty snacks in one
That would be
sitting.
me.
That would be Chris. If you sit with a bag of potato chips and can eat the whole thing with no problem, this plan is probably perfect for you. This plan is also for those who tend to overindulge on a specific type of food. I do have, I'm pretty sure I have binge eating disorder, and I can sit there and overindulge on sweets galore. Give me a container of frosting and I will probably sit there and eat the whole thing in one sitting. Don't ask me how I know. Chris leaves for work trips and I have to have him hide the frosting. But anyways, but if you can overindulge on a certain food, this plan is also for you. It kind of helps teach balance in multiple different ways.
Absolutely. And also, our weekly lives are not always this chock full of facts and
Yes.
stuff. So
If you're new, it's not always like this. So
yes, so we are kind of going over the plans that Healthy has, but usually, if you're new, we cover a variety of topics with hydration, protein, other macros, kind of goal setting and type stuff. So last week, this week, and probably next week is going to be focused on the plans, but we'll get back to kind of our regular schedule of different kinds of topics. And if you have any suggestions for topics, feel free to leave a comment on here.
Yes, but for Conquer Cravings, if moderation or balance is a struggle for you, this one is perfect for you. Along with the next one that we will talk about, because it teaches you that you can have pretty much anything in moderation. It's sorry, he's scrolling while I'm trying to read.
Sorry.
But while anyone can benefit from Conquer Cravings, it is especially designed for those with food cravings, whether it be for salty foods like Chris or sweet foods like me. Like I mentioned earlier, it is for those that also tend to overindulge. If you don't know your limits, if like binging is a problem for you, this plan is probably great for you.
And somebody on Instagram mentioned that they're finding that the nutritions are different from the packaging. So, probably, are you scanning them and then finding that the nutrition is a little different? And that can be the case. It's really hard to keep the database up to current with things changing. A lot of times, sometimes portion sizes are getting smaller on nutrition labels. You can go in there and edit those. I know sometimes that's kind of frustrating to do, but if you're finding it's a little off, but not too off, I would say go ahead and keep it in that way to just make it easier on you. But if they're way off, you can go in there and edit them. But it is really kind of hard to keep the database of all the different foods and all the barcodes to be 100% accurate. So keep us updated on that,
Yes.
and try to see if you can get those. But there's also a contact page or a help on the app if
And
you.
they do pay a lot of attention to
Yes,
those.
they do pay attention to those. So if it's way off, edit them. Maybe try to do a manual search sometimes, because sometimes the barcode, you can search for things and it's a little, it brings it up more accurate than the barcode. But definitely,
Mhm.
like, you keep an eye on those. It is definitely a good catch.
Yes. But with overindulging, back to conquer craving. Sorry guys. With overindulging indulging, someone on Instagram said it's like a hole in their pocket. They just keep eating and eating and then they're like, "Whoa, I got to the bottom of the bag." I'm
Mhm.
like, sometimes you do it without realizing it. And they also mentioned that individual servings are great for them. We actually have to pre-portion out our chips
Mhm.
because Chris will
I can't leave the kitchen with the bag, but I
mhm.
also sometimes, like Courtney, will sometimes go to the kitchen and just have the jar of frosting, and we'll have that. I will stand in the kitchen and have the bag. So I
Yeah.
still have to do other things to
Mhm.
minimize that. So to avoid that, I try not to have the bag open, and we
Yeah.
try to portion things out
Yeah, just
accordingly.
the other day, I was like, "Hey, Chris," and I showed him my tracker, and there was like 300 calories worth of frosting on there. And he was like, "How did that happen?" I was like, "I don't know. I really don't know." So, so yeah, if you do overindulge, you are not alone, but it's also good to know your struggles and know your weaknesses. And that's where these plans can come into play
Mhm.
because they kind of help you, I guess, reel it in.
Mhm.
So
And
to
then,
speak.
so sometimes when we get a snack, like if we get a new bag of chips, we'll both be in the kitchen, and then we'll portion out in like four or five, six individual bags, and then we'll seal the bag up
Mhm.
so that the bag is not open
It's
and
yes.
it readily accessible. Granted, we can reopen them,
Mhm.
but if we're both in there at the same time, um, it's kind
Sorry,
of
guys.
an accountability thing. Courtney will like, hey, what? Don't have too, don't have
Yeah.
too many.
Like, do you realize how much you just ate of
Yes,
those?
exactly. So we're both in there at the same time, and we portion those out in Ziploc bags, and then reseal the main bag. We're less likely
Mhm.
to overindulge. We'll go and grab one of the portion size bags and leave. So that's, one of the things that can be helpful on this particular plan too.
Yes, and for Conquer Cravings, it's another plan that uses bites. We talked more in depth and bite about bites last week. But generally speaking, the higher the bites, the more unhealthy the food. For Conquer Cravings, bites drives up the bites, and fiber brings the bites down.
What brings it up?
Fats.
Fats. Yep.
Yes.
So fats bring it up, and then fiber brings things down.
Yes. So something that's higher in fat will have a higher amount of bites. Something that's higher in fiber will have a lower amount of bites.
Absolutely. And for this plan, the darker grains are better. Whole wheat pasta, brown rices, these types of things have more fiber in them, and it will help balance things out. Um, Somebody on Instagram asked which plan is good for you if you're on the GLP-1. Do you happen to know the name of that particular
I do
one?
not.
She will look it up. I'll bring it up. There is a particular plan that was designed just
It's a
for.
newer plan.
Yeah, so we had six plans, so it is a seventh plan. So if you are on any GLP-1, whether it's an injection or the tablets, there is a new plan for that. And then Courtney is looking that up. But it is the seventh plan.
Mhm.
So there is one specifically designed to help go along with those of you that are on the GLP-1s. So she'll be looking that up, and I'll just continue to talk a little bit about this. So, the one of the reasons why this plan focuses on fiber is it helps promote the feeling of fullness. So, fiber, along with protein too, will help you feel a little bit more full. So, sometimes we've talked about how we have the phylum husk that we use for a fiber supplement, and we do that in the morning and the evening, and that helps keep us regular. I've taken my dosage of the fiber and then kind of break it up a little bit more throughout the day. So I'll have a little, one or two teaspoons of the fiber in a glass of water to go along with my lunch, and that makes me feel full. But if you find foods that are already rich in fiber, like the whole grains and darker grains, that will allow you to be a little bit more full.
Yes.
And somebody on Instagram asked if the new plan was only available if you're on GLP-1 from Healthy. I don't believe so. I believe anyone.
Yeah, I couldn't actually find it because it is so new. So we will have
I will
to.
look it up on the app because see if it is on there. But I do not believe that you have to be on the GLP-1 program through Healthy to be able to have access to that plan. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I believe it's just designed for anyone who happens to be on the GLP-1s, regardless of where they go on it. So
Healthy Fresh is what it's called.
yes. Oh, it is. It is exclusive to the Healthy Care members, I think. Yep. So I believe that particular one is a requirement. Granted, it is based off of calories and saturated fat and sugar and proteins. So there probably will be some of the other plans have some overlap that might be able to be beneficial to you.
If that's the case, then I would say probably Better Balance is the best.
Yeah, Better Balance. It kind of is aptly
It
named.
is saturated fats and protein, basically,
Yes.
based.
So we'll talk about that more when we get to that, though. But it's good to answer these questions.
Yes. So if
for
you're on a GLP-1, I would suggest Better Balance.
If you're not through the Healthy Care plan.
Yes, if you are not through the Healthy Care.
All right.
Okay. So like we said, fats drives up the bites on this plan. Fat has a higher energy density out of all the macros. This basically means you have to eat more of it to get full. It's going to take a lot more fat to fill up your stomach than it is something that's high in fiber. Like, I mean, just think of spinach. Like, think of how much spinach you can have for like not very many calories as opposed to like butter for the same amount of calories.
Exactly. Sorry, real quick. Somebody on Instagram mentioned that they missed the first little bit. That is okay. We're streaming and recording on YouTube. So if you missed the first little bit of this, after we're finished, you can hop onto the Healthy page on YouTube and catch the beginning of it.
Yes, and we are currently talking about the conquer cravings.
Conquer cravings. So right now
we're ones mixed
yeah.
up.
So right now we're talking about the conquer cravings, but you can go back and watch the beginning of the recording later.
Yes, but also with fats obviously they tend to taste better. Like literally our taste buds will crave fats. Which is one of the reasons why we tend to overindulge in fatty foods. Like I mentioned earlier, what would you rather overindulge in? You know, some spinach or some potato chips, which potato chips, I didn't realize, like a typical serving of potato chips has 19 grams of fat per serving.
And I really don't think there's very much fiber in there either. So you would probably have to eat more of those potato chips to get the same amount of fullness, fulfillingness out of the food than you would have something that's more protein and fiber packed.
Yes, in fact, also a study showed it rewires your brain to actually cause more like compulsive overindulgent eating.
That's why it's so easy to just grab a whole bag of chips, because one, it's not really that filling, but the fats will kind of give you a little bit more kind of cravings, and it's hard to stop.
Yes, but with this all being said, you do need fat.
You do.
It is one of the macronutrients, and you need all three of those: carbs, fats, proteins. You need them all. But the Conquer Cravings plan will kind of help you figure out how to have those fats without overindulging in them.
It helps you find a balance.
Yes, because it's all about balance.
Somebody mentioned kale chips. They were so yummy. I don't think we've ever tried that. We've done lots of chips. We've done chips with carrots, and we've done kind of air fried green bean, not quite chips, but they still have that same kind of yummy, crunchy, snacky feel. But kale chips probably would be really, really good. Then somebody mentioned that they made naked chips with their own potatoes. And that probably would be pretty tasty. Anything that you can make yourself, I think is just really good, because you know what's going in them. They're tasty. You're also going to make them fresh.
And the sodium intake is going to be a lot less too.
Yeah, somebody mentioned on Instagram that they're glad they're going to be available on YouTube. We're starting to upload some of our older ones too. So the last week is definitely on there, and then there's some older ones as well. But we're streaming live on YouTube, and then those should stay there as well after the live is over. But yes, carrots are really good.
Yes. And also with the Conquer Cravings plan, it takes your fats and your fiber into consideration. And some studies have shown that when you do a lower fat, higher fiber plan, like with weight loss, you're more successful than if you just do a lower fat. And that is one reason that Conquer Cravings takes both of these into consideration, because typically you lose a lot more weight when you're eating more fiber and less fat than just eating less fat.
Ooh, somebody had some hidden valley green beans tonight, and they were delicious. They sound really, really, really good.
Yes. Taking fat and fiber into consideration, a 200 calorie whole wheat bread would have, sorry, I did a typo in my notes.
Would have less
Less
bites.
bites than a 200 calorie donut because it is lower in fat, higher in fiber. So that's how they take the bites into
So these
consideration.
plans help encourage things that are better for you, and then help you have moderation for things that might not be as good for you, like that bread and the donut might have the same calories, but the bread is going to be more nutritious for your body and more filling, so therefore it's lower in bites, so it encourages you to have those more.
Yes, and on the conquer craving plans, like we said, those foods with higher bites are going to also sometimes have 0 bites. Some of the 0 bite foods you can have is broccoli, zucchini, lemons, pumpkin, tomatoes, lots of fruits and vegetables on this plan. There's also, which I didn't realize until I looked more in depth into these plans, there's also sample meal plans on the Healthi website as well, so that you can get an idea of what kind of foods you can eat on these plans. That can also help you see which plan you can fit into better.
And someone on Instagram asked, said they were on the Better Balance plan, but how do you know if you're on the right plan? They just started. Give it a couple weeks and give it a try. See if you're getting full, and if you're using enough bites. See if you have any movement on the scale. See how you feel. You can definitely change them up, but I probably wouldn't change them up more than once per week.
Yes, there's also a quiz. If you haven't been to Healthy's website, there is a quiz to help find your plan. I don't think we actually took the quiz. We just kind of were like, this is the one we want.
Mhm.
But there is a quiz as well, and you can answer those questions and see which plan it says would work better for you as well.
Somebody, Jody mentioned on Instagram that they make egg bites in the air fryer and they taste just like the Starbucks with less bites and also cheaper. Absolutely, anything you can make homemade. We love homemade egg bites, but a lot of things that you can make homemade are definitely a lot cheaper than if you buy them from somewhere else.
Yes. The next plan, that was Conquer Cravings. The next plan we're going to talk about is our personal favorite. It's the one we have been on since we started. It is Better Balance. It's always been our personal favorite. But those are for the ones that habitually consume processed meals and snacks,
Mhm.
or the ones that just need to be flexible and need more 0 bite options because you just don't want to track as much.
Mhm.
It's also for those that are seeking a healthier relationship with foods or those that want to lower their insulin and cholesterol levels.
So this is a really good plan to start off with because it helps you, helps teach you to have better relationships with the food. And that's probably why we've been on it for so long. And in doing these research is helping us find new plans, but it's probably one of the easiest ones to start off with. So, Andrew, PD on Instagram, you may want to stick with it for a while. It really does help you find which food is better for you. It helps you portion things out, helps you find things in moderation. You can still enjoy the things that you like even before you switch onto this program. So it's going to be probably one of the easiest ones to follow, and it's definitely a good starter one if you want to do with it. But we've been on it for a long time, so you might stick with it and love it.
Yeah. But like the name is literally Better Balance. It teaches you balance. It teaches you moderation. It teaches you that you can have that slice of cake you want, but have it after you've had a balanced meal with, a nice lean protein, some veggies, and some delicious stuff. Have what you want with what you need.
And the Better Balance one is a bites plan. What? Yes.
Sorry, our notes. But anyways, we were talking about have what you want with what you need. Do you want to explain that?
Absolutely. So have what you want with what you need. Courtney has mentioned multiple times she loves sweets. She loves Reese's Pieces. Anything with peanut butter and chocolate. So what we've been doing a lot is having a yogurt bowl, which is nutritious, full of protein, has a lot of that healthy bacteria for the gut, but then she sprinkles some of the Reese's on top of it.
I'm sorry. I forgot to mention. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
There was a question. I did forget to mention that this is. Oh, that's actually the next thing I was going to talk about. This
But
is a bites driven plan. You did.
I literally just said
You
that.
just said. Sorry, I saw the question and
Yeah,
I was.
I responded
answering
to, this is a
Oh.
bites plan.
I tuned him out apparently.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was
She's
drinking my water.
she's used to tuning me out. But yeah, so that's a bites plan.
Sorry.
But have what you want with what you need. So if you want something sweet, have something healthy with it too. So if you want some Reese's, have some yogurt with it, or have some fruit. Have those healthy things. We are big proponents for not depriving yourself of things that you like. I love chips. I love cheese. I love crackers. So if I have those in smaller amounts, along with more healthier things, it makes things a lot easier. I get to have what I enjoy, but I also get fulfilling, healthy nutrient stuff. I made a cottage cheese bowl. We are huge cottage cheese people. We probably go through 3 or 4 pounds of it in a
Mhm.
week sometimes.
Literally.
We use it in mix in with our our scrambled eggs. We make cottage cheese bowls. We blend it up to put it in our yogurt bowls. Um, but I made just a cottage cheese bowl. Added a little bit of my yummy hot sauce in there. I love anything with spices. And then I added that with the chips. I used the flavored yummy cottage cheese as a dip to go along with my chips. So I had what I wanted, which was chips, to have something what I need, the healthier fats of the cottage cheese.
Yes. But like Chris mentioned, this is a bites driven plan. For better balance, sugars and saturated fats drives the bites up, protein drives it down. So if you're someone that needs a lot of protein, like if you are like intensely at the gym or something, this plan might be good for you because you almost get rewarded on this plan for eating protein.
Absolutely. And Jody mentioned that she had Greek yogurt with peanut butter Chex Mix. So the Chex Mix was something that she probably was craving, and the Greek yogurt with peanut butter added some of the the healthy fats and some of the protein, which is really
Yes.
good for you.
So on this plan, like we said, the sugars and saturated fats drive them up. Sugars drive them up because when you have sugars, you want more of it. The
Mhm.
more sugars you have, the more you want. There actually was a study done that showed that sugar has the same effect on your brain that drugs do. You literally can become addicted
Mhm.
to sugars. I actually went off of sugar for a week a while back. It was awful, y'all. I was moody, I was grumpy. Like I literally was like someone coming off of drugs. I'm not even over exaggerating because sugar can be addictive.
Mhm.
And that's why you really only need it in small moderations. Because it is something that you literally will crave more of.
Mhm. Absolutely. So have things in moderation. We definitely don't say anything is bad. We don't want to cut out all carbs. We don't want to cut out all sugars, all fats. So just learn, what's better
Mhm.
for you. And these plans will help you depending on things that you crave more.
Yes, and saturated fats also drive the bites up for this plan. Saturated fats are the one that can raise your cholesterol, and also fats, like we mentioned earlier. It just takes a lot more fats to fill you up. You want more of them, just like the sugars. You crave fats, just like you do the sugars.
Yeah, May on YouTube says that she goes for sugars and salty
Mhm.
items. Absolutely. So, sometimes it's nice to have that salty and sweet mix. And so just having those in moderation and adding those to other things is
Mhm.
really good for you.
Yes. Sadly, a lot of the foods that we love are higher in saturated fats and sugar, especially fast food. This might be one of the reasons why fast food is so popular because it's
Hmm.
something that people literally crave because of the saturated fats in the food. A
And the
Big
sugar.
Mac, yes, on the Better Balance plan, a Big Mac has 18 bites. It has 11 grams of saturated fats, which I found out while doing this research. That's over half of what you're supposed, like a typical adult is supposed to have in a day.
Hmm.
11 grams is over half. Like, I need to see how many saturated fats I'm having in my day because if that's over half, like, how many are you supposed to have? Like 20? That's, like, not a lot.
Hmm.
Um, so definitely pay attention to the saturated fats in your foods.
And
Um
also do like healthy comparisons. We've loved the McGriddles, which are not generally speaking all that healthy, but we've made some amazing healthy McGriddle like items that are so delicious and packed with protein and healthier fats. And so you can find those substitutions.
Yes. And like I said, protein drives the bites down for this plan. And this plan, like I said, it's almost like you're getting rewarded for having protein. So the more protein you have, like you can eat more foods that are higher in proteins. Protein can also help you reduce cravings and it keeps you satisfied longer. If you have a higher protein meal, chances are you're going to be full for a lot longer. We try to make sure our meals have at least 30 grams of protein,
Hmm.
if not between 40 and 50. We are larger people, so we do need more protein in our day, but protein is key for a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. And somebody asked for the link, and I am going to post the link, and hopefully it goes to all the different locations. So this is the link for the uh, Find Your Plan quiz on the Healthies page. And it looks like that should hopefully go to you. So that is the link to the Find Your Plan, and that has kind of a description of all the different plans. And so you can find the Better Balance one there, which is the one that we're talking
Okay.
about.
And we're going to try to get through the rest of this really fast because we're already at 30 minutes. But like we said, the leaner proteins it is what a lot of the zero bite foods are based off of. Better Balance has the largest amount of zero bite foods, which is why we love it. There's less to track.
Yes.
Like for I have a list somewhere. But just a reminder that 0 bites does not equal 0 calories. You still need to keep that in mind. I have a friend that has literally eaten a whole pound of chicken, like skinless chicken, in one sitting just because she says it's 0 bites. And I'm like, I would never judge someone for what they're eating, but you need to remember that's still a lot of calories. So just keep it in mind.
Yes, I agree. She mentioned that she's probably going to stay with Better, but it's really easy. It's definitely a good starter one, and then from there, once you have some success, if you need some change, we've been on it for like 5 years, but we've occasionally gone through some other different options too. So we've bounced back and forth, but you can always come back to it and try a different one too.
Yes. For this plan in particular, it might be helpful to turn your secondary metrics on to calories if you do have them. I know part of the purpose of this is to have less things to track, but if you are not losing on Better Balance, it might be worth checking and making sure you're not overeating on those 0 bite foods. Secondary metrics is something that's on Pro. If you don't know how to do that, let us know if you want Chris to show you how to do that next week, and he can screen share and show you how to do that. But especially just to make sure you're not overeating those 0 bite foods, especially with such a large list. Secondary metrics is great.
It's good to kind of keep those in the back of your mind. So if you're eating a lot of 0 bite foods, make sure that you're not going too far over with the calories.
Some examples of 0 bite foods that are not on the other plans is boneless skin is chicken breast, fat-free plain yogurt, 99% ground turkey breast, beans. I don't think those are on the other plans, but I could be wrong. But with this plan, like we said, make sure to utilize your 0 bite foods. Make your whole meal around those. Like have a 0 bite food, then have like a veggie, which is also 0 bites, and then have like a rice or a grain or something.
Absolutely. So it's all literally quite like the plan is called about Better Balance.
Yes. At the end of the day, with any of these plans, remember it's moderation over anything, balance. It's okay to have what you want, but have it with what you need, and you will succeed.
Absolutely.
And drink your water.
Drink your water. So hydration is definitely key. It's something we've talked about at least twice, if not more, on our past podcast. Give yourself grace, as she mentioned, but you're definitely able to switch plans. I think the Better Balance and the what other one was on the pro plan?
I think it's keto.
Keto. Those are the two. If you switch plans with my current favorite foods and recipes, convert over to my new plan. I think so. But if you, but you also will want to switch.
But if you switch, make sure you do it at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
That's probably what he was about to say.
Yes, exactly. We're reading each other's minds. See, I'm reading your mind a little bit there. But if you change your plan, do it at the beginning of the day, because whatever you have tracked for that day will be erased. But I'm fairly certain your favorite foods and your recipes will convert over, because it'll just account for whatever plan you're on. And somebody asked how much water we should be drinking a day. It really kind of varies. I mean, you can do a kind of a internet search. Some people say it's a certain amount. It varies depending on how big you are. I'm a 6'8" man, and still quite on the heavier side. I'm 352 pounds as of last week. So I just need a little bit more. And Mary says she's down 53 pounds. That's amazing. We love when you share your victories, and we have some victories too. But it really varies. My main goal is to, I think I've read somewhere your kidneys can't process more than 1 liter per hour. You want to make sure your urine is a pale yellow. I know it's awkward to talk about the color of your urine. You do not want it to be clear. So drink what you feel like you can drink without having to go to the bathroom all the time, but don't drink too much.
Yes. Someone said the series has been so helpful. I am so glad.
Yes, we're so very glad. So now we're kind of at the end of our time. So we're going to talk about one of Courtney's amazing recipes.
Yes, I'm going to go through this fast, but just remember, this is always posted on Instagram and Facebook. If you do not have either of those, if you're on YouTube, we will find a way to get it to you.
We'll make sure to add it as a comment on the YouTube page.
Yes.
Yes. And here we go. Courtney's recipe that we're going to share. Let's see.
This is baked French toast sticks. I do not like French toast because I always make it too eggy, and this way it's not too eggy for me. But But you need cinnamon, sugar, eggs, almond milk, any kind of milk really, vanilla extract. And I use keto bread because it's a lot lower in calories. You can use whatever bread you want, but it will change the macros, bites, all of that a little bit. You can also use a sugar replacement if you don't want to use sugar. I know I'm talking fast, guys. I am sorry. But preheat the oven to 350, line a baking sheet with parchment paper, and or you can just spray that bad boy down with as much spray as you can. But I would suggest parchment paper, and you might even want to spray the parchment paper just in case. In a small bowl, whisk together the cinnamon and sugar, set that aside. In a separate bowl, mix together the eggs, the milk, and the vanilla extract. Cut each slice into 3 even pieces. I like to toast these a little bit first, just a little bit.
Make
That
sure
way,
they're not so
yeah, that
soggy.
way they're not soggy when I put them in the mixture. But cut them into 3 even pieces and dip each piece into the egg mixture. Drain off the excess liquid and set on the prepared baking sheet. You might have to do this in 2 different batches, depending on how big your sheet is. But once all the bread is coated, sprinkle with a little bit of cinnamon sugar. Bake for 25 to 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, flipping halfway through. Serve with fruit, syrup, whatever you want. This is between 2 and 4 bites. On the plans, 142 calories, 6.8 net carbs, 14.4 grams protein. You can also switch out the milk for a protein shake to make the protein higher.
Absolutely. And somebody, Andrea on Instagram said it's good for kids. Yes, kids
Yes.
don't know what's healthy. Sometimes if they can
I actually am
sniff
thinking
something
about making
healthy,
it soon, like
they won't like it.
maybe this week, because it's very good.
Yes, with it being spring break and our little one home with us this week, she's eating us out of house and home, and we're trying to teach her good habits to minimize the crunchy snacks. She loves the chips like I do.
She's asked for popcorn 6 times today, literally.
Yes.
I had to put a timer on and was like, you cannot have more popcorn until this timer goes off.
Exactly. But thankfully, she does also love fruit and yogurt and stuff too. So we're trying to help her find a balance, and we're trying to do the responsible thing. We're trying to keep this stuff in our mind so she can continue being a kid and not worry about it. So yes, thank you, Linda, for the lovely comment, and we are so happy that you all joined us. And I think we did really well also on YouTube. We had about 5 people join us throughout the program, so we're happy
for with it being new, that's great.
Yes, for it being our first time live on YouTube, that went really well. So we're so glad you joined us, Mary, and everybody else on YouTube. But we will be back same time
and we will do the next 2,
yes,
the last 2 plans.
Next week. So we'll see you all next week at 7:30 Central on Tuesday on all the different platforms. Have a good week. Bye.